Welcome back to our chess story series, where we take a time machine back to the year of 2003, where Magnus Carlsen, who's only 13 years old and a young teenager, is playing a more experienced FIDE master by the name of Dennis Rylander from Sweden. In this game, the one thing I want to focus your attention on is the white wall of pawns. By the time the white pawns got to c4, d5, and e6, he cut the board in half. And this karate chop is often used to take away defenders from one side of the board so they can't help. Let's take a look at the game. We start off with queen's pawn opening, and Magnus is saying, give me the center. Black is saying, me too. I want a little slice. And of course, we don't play knight c3, f3, e4 because that opens up the king a bit much. But maybe later on, one day, when we're already castled, we can go for e4. So first he gets his pieces out. He fianchettos. He says, look at my bishop. He's awesome. How about yours? And Black says, yeah, my other bishop's awesome. He could be awesome too, fianchetto on g7. And White says, fine, I'll just castle and let's see who'll win the middle game. Because both sides take out pieces normally, and White has a little bit more space. They have a few more pawns that they can push. And Black has a tough time pushing e5. They can either play queen e8 and try to push this pawn in the middle, sometimes rook e8, which is more rare, because the rook is actually doing a good job on f8 very often. Or they can try to play knight d7, knight c6. Some people even put the pawn here and bring the knight to c7. The point of knight d7 is to push e5, but then the bishop is not happy with you and he's crying out for help. If you put the pawn here, then, sometimes the knight will get out, but it takes a while. So some people just put him here and say, good, my knight's in the middle. He's actually helping, getting ready for e5. And if my pieces get to come out, then Black is just doing great with e4 coming. This is called the Dutch Leningrad variation. And in the Dutch, one of White's ideas is actually to kick this knight away and to land d5 in there so that the knight can come to this juicy outpost. Now, if the knight goes back, let's say he runs back somewhere, okay, my knight's coming to my juicy outposts, and sorry about your backwards pawn, maybe I'll start picking on it because he forgot to move up too. Now, if you go forward, which is what actually happened, we have knight takes, pawn takes. And now the bishop is a little locked up on g7. And while he's locked in, the second pawn is not very happy either. If you could play e6 and safely trade off this guy, maybe get the bishop out, for example, I don't know, maybe rook b1, b3, e6. If you could get all your pieces out, that would be great. That would be Black's dream. But who said I have to allow that? Who said I'm going to give you the time? And Carlsen right away makes sure that this bishop is caved in and our bishop can one day open up, and also our bishop can support the center on e4. If you ever take, oh my goodness, this is fabulous. Double isolated pawns. The file doesn't do much for you. It's going to be locked up. My bishop is coming to e3, and the poor bishop will never get out of this wall again, staring at e5 forever. So that's why in the actual game, Black said, let's lock in your bishop too. Your bishop will be stuck. Maybe one day I can get the pawn to f3 and the nail pawn will nail your king and checkmate him. Okay, that's the idea. That's what he's dreaming about, but he may not get the chance. If he gets the chance, he's going to play bishop g4, then f3. Great. That's perfect. Except in this game, it wasn't meant to be. Okay. After we take, Black can take or play knight h5. Knight h5, I think f5 would be the problem because he's dreaming about bishop takes and dark square control and the knight's coming here and the queen's coming to the dark squares. Maybe here with all these pieces looking, maybe there is an attack coming. I'd be a little concerned if I was White because these guys are dominating all these holes. That being said, after f5, nothing happens because you can't even take. Your bishop is locked in. This bishop is locked in. He doesn't get the dark squares. And I like white. I'm starting to like white because of all these pawns, space, and white's just up a pawn for no reason. That's why black took back and said, when you take me, I have a discovery. For example, bishop takes pawn and bzzz, peekaboo, discovered attack on the bishop. When you take, the rook comes in, the bishops are happy, nobody's caved in, the king is not happy on g1 with the g3 pawn gone, only the bishop can help now. So I would think here black is very happy. Bishop g4 is coming, and we got the bishop pair on top of that. So black would be really happy if white took, but of course Carlsen, even the young Carlsen, knows better and says, no, I kick away your knight. You can't attack me with the bishop because I just attacked two pieces at the price of one. Then you have to lose one. And if you have to run away, no matter what you do, I go e6. If you go here, e6. Knight h5, probably e6. Knight g4, e6. I don't care as long as I get these pawns here. Suddenly, this knight is not feeling so good. He's locked out from his defender. He's looking at the king, but he's the only one. He's got no friends to help him out. You know why? They're all locked out. So this pawn chain locks out the queen side from the king side. This is our land now. It's mine. And this is your land now. But how much good is it going to do for you? Okay, you don't have any attack going because your pieces are all stuck. So for that reason, the knight has to retreat. And when he does, we keep going. We keep coming. These pawns can be really scary. Okay, one day if they get to d7, that's game over, right? And they're supported by bishop, supported by knight, supported by queen. The king is not doing great. So when my queen comes here, he can get in trouble too, right? For that reason, then it says, wait a second, I have a strong pawn and your bishop's locked in. My bishop's locked in, your bishop's locked in. And I have a nail pawn that I so desperately wanted. Okay. Magnus says, wait. My bishop's not locked in. My bishop's helping. What are you talking about? And then it says, no, it's locked in. Trust me. I'm going to lock it in. Where is it going? Can't go here. Can't go there. Can't go anywhere. It's locked in. If you move the rook, it's locked in just somewhere else. And I get my nail pawn to stay. Okay, that's what Dennis is dreaming about. Now, you can say, what if the bishop takes? And I guess Dennis was thinking about using the g file. I guess Dennis was dreaming about queen e8, queen g6, and coming for mate. And Magnus wanted nothing to do with it. He said, maybe I can take, maybe it's dangerous. Why deal with this g file with the nail pawn already here? No. Stay away from me. I'm just going to hide. And you want my bishop, right? You want him? Have him. Because when you have my bishop, you also lose the g file. Now, your king, who's locked out from the queen side, locked out from his helpers, is going to be all alone. And the pieces you have here are not enough to help. You don't have your queen, you don't have your bishop helping, you don't have your rook helping because of this karate chop pawn structure, which cut the board in half. Now, Dennis decided to be greedy and cooperate with Magnus. That's what Magnus wanted. He wanted the g file open. Now we have this awesome move to trade a defender from Black's army. So I'll give you 3 seconds. You can pause the video if you want and see if you can find this awesome removal of the guard. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1. Congratulations if you said bishop h6. We removed the bishop. We don't like him here. And the knight is being annoying too. Now he's pinned. He no longer has any discoveries, no annoying moves. He's gone. The bishop is pinned to the rook, so the bishop can't move either. And if you take, which is what happened, I get your knight. The bishop is the only one standing to help the king. Checkmate's coming very, very soon if you don't stop me. So at this point, Dennis starts getting desperate. Dennis says, oh, rook, help me out. I'm in trouble. Somebody, please help me. And so the rook comes in to block the diagonal, and the king has an exit, but it's not much of an exit. Even if you decide to go here, probably knight e4. I get rid of your rook. We have queen h5 coming in, queen f7 ideas later. If the rook moves, then we have check, then collect this guy. I don't think he's going to survive that. Queen will take, the bishop has to leave, the second rook comes, and the king is locked out, abandoned by his neighbors. For that reason, Black says, let's trade. You want to trade? Let's trade. Trade some attackers. And we say, sure, but only on my terms. If you want to trade, you'll have to trade my sleeping rook into the game. Okay? And Black said, no, 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 no. Let's not do that trade. I don't like that trade. You trade me here, and I take back. Carlsen says, okay, fine. At this point, sure, because I also get a target to fire at. I also get a check on your king whenever I want to. Okay, and your extra piece, you remember that extra bishop you had there? Nothing. That's absolutely nothing. I have 3 attackers, annoying nail pawn, and your king's wide open with only 1 real defender. For that reason, Dennis tried to help, desperately clinging on to g6, desperately clinging on to help the king, but the knight is coming now. And where is he going? Let's take a look. Black tries to break down this annoying pawn complex, tries to break down the karate chop, but the karate chop is too strong and he doesn't have enough time. He needs at least 3 moves to get everyone in there. He doesn't have the time. We first give him a check, and then guess where the knight's going? I told you he's coming to the king side, and there's his road. After the knight arrives, no one can touch him. The bishop's the wrong color, and the queen cannot help anymore. The rook's coming in, and it's a disaster for black. For that reason, black says, whoa, 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 let's trade. Let's trade. I don't like your knight. Your knight sounds yucky. Okay, when the knight's gone, suddenly we don't need the knight anymore because you don't have your bishop to help. We're just coming for queen h6, rook takes, mate on the board. Okay, like I told you, he doesn't have enough time. Dennis wishes he could get another extra turn, then he will be okay. But he doesn't have the time. He was locked away for too long. For that reason, Dennis tries to hold on to g6, and now the invasion comes. Using the help of the nail pawn, he can invade. Either he can come to f7, or he can come to h6. For example, pawn here, I would be guessing check, check, and mate, using the help of that nail pawn. Okay, the game actually finished a little different. Let's see the ending here. Okay, they gave up the bishop, better late than never. But you know, like the quote says, many games were lost because you tried to keep the extra piece. Dennis kept the piece for too long, and his other piece never came out, and that's why he's going to lose. We don't even need the bishop right away. We're just going to checkmate you. You can have my pawn, we'll still checkmate you on the board. Done. And that's how Carlsen beat Dennis Rylander, using the karate chop pawns to lock out the queen side and not let them in to the situation room where everything was happening.